Hello everyone. Today I just wanted to have a short talk about whether or not Canada is a good place for tech growth. And there's been a lot of people that they're skilled workers. They have PhDs, they have masters, they're highly skilled, tons of years of work. And then they come to Canada on a work visa and they can't find a tech job, and they're biomed or something like that, right? You would think that someone with such a high degree, it should be easy to find a job, right? Especially if you come to Toronto or Vancouver. These are big hot spots, right? How is it possible that these people with such high has such high diplomas, they go and drive Ubers, right? Because when I travel around, I sometimes I call Ubers, so I talk to the drivers, and I've met a fair share of people who hold PhDs, masters. The problem here is Canada is a very closed off country, which means that if you didn't get your degree here in Canada, you're going to be fighting an uphill fight, right? Because they don't take your diploma from whatever other country as face value, right? Even if you turn it into an equivalent, the moment you put that on your resume, they're going to think that you're not a native and they're just going to brush you to the side, right? So even if you have 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of work experience back in your home country, you're a product manager, you're a manager of a business, whatever, right? You're a CEO. You come to Canada, what can you do, right? We're going to delve a little bit deeper into that, into this Canadian hellhole here, right? So we're looking at the gross domestic product. So it's a GDP of Canada in June 2020. So you can get all this data from the government of Canada. I just pulled up a website and they basically ripped this data from all the data sets. They're all in CSV form, which is Excel form. If you really want to, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go through this data set by yourself. You can parse it using Python or some kind of script. But I already pulled up a website that did this for us. It updates every month and it shows you the breakdown of every single sector and how much money is brought in by each individual sector. All right. So we can immediately see here that the real estate, rental, leasing, this is what is the bread and butter of Canadians' GDP, followed by manufacturing, construction, finance, insurance. On this list, professional, scientific, and technical services aren't that bad, It's still listed at a decent amount, but you can see from the top to the bottom, tech isn't even ranked at the highest, right? So if you're in some kind of profession, if it's programming or something like that, don't expect to be earning more than any of these guys up here, right? And it's also not easy to find a job because 70%, you heard that right, 70% of the Canadian industry is made up of the retail sector, which means you only have a 30% chance of finding a job in the tech industry, which is also diminished by the fact that 30% is only what accounts for not being in the retail sector, right? So the 30% also consists of, maybe mining, manufacturing. Those aren't retail, right? So what you're left with is maybe 10-20%. I'll give it a very generous amount, right? You're maybe left with 10-20% of that 30% cookie that you're looking at, right? So your outlook is already pretty bad, right? Well, it could be worse, but if you're thinking about going the tech route and you get and you come to Canada, try to use it I would say try to use it as a hopping board to the US, as a leap board. But I would 100% say that it's not worth. Like, if you just want to do tech and tech is your dream, please don't come to Canada. The chance of you trying to find a job, even if you do have experience, is pretty slim, right? And it's basically trying to pick a needle in a haystack. So I'll also delve deeper into why real estate rental and leasing is so high. What Canada has the most is land, right? And there's a lot of construction going on, which is also why construction is ranked number 3. What happens is a lot of rich investors come over to Canada, buy houses, and buy houses en masse, which means they buy 15, 20, 30 houses, and then they rent it out, or they lease it, hence rental and leasing, right? Real estate is also up there because they're selling to these rich people to rent and lease. It's especially apparent in the big cities like Vancouver or Toronto. When you go out there and walk around, drive around, you'll see a lot of cars in front of one house. And that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you own a house and it has, let's say, a first floor, a second floor, a basement, right? You see one of those single houses, sometimes outside you'll see 5 cars, 6 cars, right? Like, could be a party, could be something like that. But if you live around the area, you kind of see the same cars all the time, and you'll know that it's a rental housing, right? So if you have a lot of rich people sitting on all these houses, what's going to happen? The other people can't buy the housing, right? So they keep building, they keep building, and keep building. But because big banks are not able to hand out mortgages to, if you're making around 100,000, if you weren't making 100,000 or something a year, it's really hard for a bank to give you a mortgage. And there really isn't a way for you to buy a house unless you have a lot of cash, which isn't feasible. So people are going to try mortgages. And if banks aren't willing to hand out mortgages to these people that, are on the edge or trying to buy a house, it really becomes a problem, right? So you build more houses and then the rich people buy up these houses again. So in a sense, maybe one family has 15 houses, right? It really brings into perspective of what kind of jobs you can do in this country. Because even on the second one, it's manufacturing, right? What's the difference between manufacturing here in Canada and manufacturing in China, right? There's absolutely no difference. Construction, propped up by the real estate, rental housing, finance and insurance. If you got a lot of money, you got to have somewhere to put it, right? Finance and insurance is also a retail sector. So they could probably list like all of these, aside from manufacturing and construction, all together in the retail sector. Public admin, I don't know why it's ranked so high. This is probably because the government earns so much money. And then health insurance, healthcare, obviously they do health, they're going to earn a lot. Mining, quarrying, obviously they're going to be up there. And you have all these other stuff. They're trades. They're like all these other things. So when you're looking at a graph like this, think about it. Even if you're in a big city, they're always talking about, how Vancouver, how Toronto, how Montreal, how these places are so easy to find a tech job. I've been here, and I can tell you, it sure is damn hard. And I'm not even an international. I'm a citizen here. And as a citizen, if it's already this hard to find a tech job, right, kind of makes sense that if you're an international trying to come in, trying to bite into this tech cookie, you're not going to get a lot. You're not going to get a lot of mileage out of that. In the end, you're probably just going to be going around doing finance, insurance, construction, manufacturing, real estate. Real estate agents, it's so easy to get. You should probably go get it. You should probably go get certified if that's your thing. But it's really gloomy in terms of what kind of jobs you can do. You're basically out there servicing people, and that's it. That's all I have for the economic breakdown of what Canada's GDP is actually really made of. It's not made of tech, so it's unlike the US, right? In Canada, it's all about selling to the rich. So if you aren't rich, please don't come to Canada. You're going to be wasting all your money paying taxes to the government.